Rambling roads, rambling roads. Why you ramble, no one knows. Wild and windblown, that's how you've grown. Who can cling to a rambling rose? Ramble on, ramble on. When you're rambling, days are gone. Who will love you with love true? Who can cling to a rambling rose?
Hello, Dolly, well hello, Dolly, it's so nice to have you back where you belong. You're looking swell, Dolly, I can tell, Dolly, you're still glowing, you're still going, you're still going strong. I feel the room swaying while the band's playing one of my old favorite songs from way back when. So here's my hat, fellas, find me an empty lap, fellas. Dolly will never go away, Dolly will never go away, Dolly will never go away again.
Oh heart, I hear you beating, but her heart just ain't beating like you. Oh heart, you gotta watch out now, or else she's gonna break you in two. Oh heart, you better believe me. Save yourself for somebody new. Don't make such a fuss, there's no hope for us. She don't care the way that you do. Yes, I'm telling you, heart, you're driving me crazy. Heart, you heard all that I say. Heart, she doesn't want you. There's no use in acting this way. Yes, I'm telling you, heart, you better believe me. Save yourself for somebody new. Don't make such a fuss, there's no hope for us. She don't care the way that you do. Yes, I'm telling you, heart.
Nog een van die vroegste stemme op Springbokradio was Dani van Edensen. Vandag is Dani Afrikaanse programorganiseerder in Kaapstad, maar hy sit daar reg om ons te vertel hoe dit gevoel het om 'n verdwaalde Kaapenaar in Johannesburg te wees en vir Springbokradio uit te saai in 1950. Nou, terug in die Kaap en onverdwaald, hoor ons van Dani van Eden.
Ons het alles omtrent lewend uitgesaai. Daar was hier en daar opnames, maar ons het so gemaak met die handelsflitse. Daar was byvoorbeeld 3 handelsflitse, 1 in Afrikaans, 1 in Engels, 1 in Afrikaans, en dan 2 uur later was daar weer 1 in Engels, 1 in Afrikaans in die middel en 1 in Engels. Die middelste enetjie was dan lewend. Nou sit ek as Afrikaanse omroeper in my kantoor en ek tik op die tikmasjien en ek hou die horlosie dop en so 'n minuut voor die tyd, let wel, 'n minuut voor die tyd, gaan ek gou af na die ateljee toe om nou my lewende handelsflits te gaan lees. Dan wag ek totdat die vorige ene op plaat gespeel word. Hy duur 15 sekondes. Terwyl hy speel, glip ek in die ateljee en terwyl my vriend Pieter Chiswell of een van my kollegas, Engelse kollegas, die gong slaan, gaan sit ek agter die lesenaar, agter die mikrofoon en lees die handelsflits in Afrikaans, slaan die gong, groet en stap uit en 2 uur later kom ek weer. En dit was my taak min of meer vir die hele dag.
Peter Chiswell, now in London. Peter, when did you start with Springbok Radio?
In 1950, I went up to Johannesburg to join Springbok. And in 1960, I remember writing a little song, which I think I sang on the air at the time, which went like this: I've been listening to Springbok Radio since the 1st of May, 10 years ago, and now it's 25. Can you believe it?
Peter, you're now with the BBC in London. What have you been up to lately?
I must say I had a very interesting time just before Christmas, because I went all around the world on Royal Air Force aircraft, collecting messages and greetings from our troops out in various far-flung places.
The show everybody switched on, Peter, was your late-night epic with you lambasting the commercials.
Oh, yes, the Eek Eek Club. Yeah, Eek Eek. I remember saying so often to everybody on the air, good evening, horrors.
Crime, mystery and detection have been the backbone of Springbok Radio during the past quarter of the century. Remember The Creaking Door, The Dark Stranger, our first evening serial, Epic Casebook or Inspector Carr, and of course the longest lived of them all, Consider Your Verdict. Well, we have here the author, producer and one-time bit-part actor of the series. None other than the accused, whom you, members of the jury, see before you in the dock. I refer, of course, to that well-known purveyor of crime, that member of the underworld and hanger-on of the mafia, Michael Silver.
Silence in court, silence in court. Will the prisoner at the bar kindly refrain from waving to friends and chatting up the girls? Prisoner of the bar, Michael Silver, who stands accused before this court of having maliciously and feloniously and to the detriment of the public produced, written, acted in, or otherwise dealt in a series of criminal stories, also known as Consider Your Verdict, for a period of 23 years, without once pausing to reflect on the effect that this might have on the morals of the South African public. You, in other words, Michael Silver, made crime pay. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
I am not guilty. And what have you to say in defense of the aforegoing charge?
My lad, all I can say is that I stand before the bar of justice knowing all I did was to show to South Africa that crime does not pay if you're a criminal. The very fact that it pays if you're a writer and producer, well, why not?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is he guilty or not guilty? I thought you looked a nice audience. Thank you.
Of all the many good serials that have been broadcast for old and young at 7:15 p.m., none so gripped the imagination of the country as No Place to Hide. Everyone remembers Eric Temple, Dr. Constance, Sergei, and of course the hero, Mark Saxon. There were several Mark Saxons in the story of No Place to Hide, but for this occasion we managed to bring back the original Mark, Dewar McCormack. With the help of our Cape Town studios, we were able to bring together the original cast, but Adrian Steed is the man to tell you all about this.
Well, Clark, I was only a kid in those days, right at the start of my career, and I was very fortunate to be asked to play in No Place to Hide by Monty Doyle, the writer-producer, and I featured along with very fine actors like Stuart Brown, who played Sergei, Harold Lake, who was Angus Travers, Bruce Anderson, Dr. Constance, and Val Phillip, Karen Piers. The cast changed from time to time, of course, and subsequently I was to take over the writing and the producing of the serial myself. But I remember it well. They were good days. It was the time when everybody in South Africa tuned in at 7:15 to hear this.
No Place to Hide, featuring the return of the world's strangest investigator, Mark Saxon, in Operation Luna.
The end had come where it all began, in the sewers of London. I'd lain helpless in the path of one of the giant slug-like creatures we'd called the gastropods. It had slithered and squelched its way towards me until its shapeless bulk had threatened to engulf me. The cry for help, which I'd uttered to Kardak, had barely escaped my lips when Angus Travers arrived after lumbering through knee-deep water. Yelling a Scottish oath which sounded for all the world like some ancient Gaelic war cry, he'd flung hands full of salt into the monster's maw. There ensued a violent effervescence, a bubbling which, to the accompaniment of a deafening hiss, emitted a dense green vapor. Breathless after his rescue run, Angus was not able to avoid breathing it in, and he collapsed beside me on the slimy stonework. On the other hand, I was able to hold my breath and watch with fascination the horror of the gastropod's disintegration.
If I said you were lucky, it'd be an understatement, Mark.
Yes, Dr. Constance, I was already convinced that my luck had run out.
Any news of Angus?
He's in the intensive care unit at the Royal College of Surgeons.
Carden's with him. She promised to phone the moment there's any change in his condition.
He'll be incapacitated for some weeks.
If he survives.
Yes. Sir Henry says, Sir Henry Blackbeard, that is, that the lung tissue is seared out of all recognition.
Poor Angus.
Can you imagine how I shall feel if he doesn't pull through?
I feel responsible. If I hadn't tripped on that iron ladder and cracked my head on those pipes.
It's not your fault, Sergei. Besides, what could you have done?
With two of us throwing the salt, that thing would have succumbed more quickly.
Just a minute, Sergei. The door. Somebody's trying the handle.
Open it quickly. I'll cover you with Petrushka.
Right. Now!
Is this how you greet all your visitors, Saxon?
Eric Temple.
Shoot him, Sergei!
He knows better, Dr. Constance. What a fearful waste of ammunition that would be.
We'd hoped you were dead.
Temple dead? Impossible. I came to tell you that my next act of revenge on you earthlings is already underway.
Voordat daai wraak uit die buitenste ruimte ons tref, maak ons eers gou musiek. En musiek op Springbokradio word gekenmerk deur die hoë kwaliteit daarvan. Om hierdie standaard steeds te handhaaf, is daar Springbokradio se mees gesogte toekenning, die Sari. A galaxy of great professionals has illuminated the Sari scene since its inception in 1964. Winners of the coveted awards are chosen by our listeners and a specially selected panel of judges who vote in secret. The Springbok Sari for the best female vocalist has been awarded no fewer than 4 times in succession to our next singer with Dan Hill's band, Miss Judy Page.
You keep saying you got something for me, something you call love, but confess you've been messing where you shouldn't have been a messing, and now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you.
I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. And if we go someplace to dance, I know that there's a chance you won't be leaving with me. And afterwards we drop into a quiet little place and have a drink or two. And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like, I love you. I can see it in your eyes that you despise the same old lines you heard the night before. And though it's just a line to you, for me it's true and never seemed so right before. I practice every day to find some clever lines to say to make the meaning come true. But then I think I'll wait until the evening gets late and I'm alone with you. The time is right, your perfume fills my head, the stars get red and oh, the night's so blue. And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like, I love you.
Master Jack, you taught me all I know, and I'll never look back. It's a very strange world, and I thank you, Master Jack. You taught me all the things the way you'd like them to be, but I'd like to see whether people agree. It's all very interesting the way you disguise, but I'd like to see the world through my own eyes. It's a strange, strange world we live in, Master Jack. You taught me all I know, and I'll never look back. It's a very strange world, and I thank you, Master Jack. Hey, it's a very strange world, and I thank you, Master Jack.
For these everyday mishaps, what about a nice cup of tea? And what better company is there for tea but Leslie Green?
Hello, and I'm glad you were listening.
Leslie, you know, my very fondest memories of Springbok Radio have you associated with them, because when I very first started, you were the first person that I think introduced me on the air, and I loved your programs, Tea with Mr. Green, because you always had biscuits.
I used to interview people who are in this program tonight, who have been to tea with me. Yes. I used to interview the backroom boys as well. There are some, you know, who are still in broadcasting who were there right at the beginning. For every man at the microphone, I suppose there are always a dozen in the background, and we used to meet some of these fellows.
Leslie, and of course Pet's Parade, I think we hardly need mention, because that's been going so happily for so long now, hasn't it?
I don't think any man has done any one program for as long as I've done that one, because I started in January 52, and I'm still doing it, and that's more than 23 years, isn't it?
Ah, that's marvellous. And Leslie, I think all we need say is, may it continue, all of it, so happily in the future.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Leslie Green. Well, another man whose name is synonymous with laughter on Springbok Radio is Donald Monat, and I have had the honor and the pleasure of working with him for many years. Right since the early days of Springbok Radio, Donald Monat and June Dixon have been Mr. and Mrs. Loudspeaker. So, Donald and June, a little reminiscing from you on the way you started.
We are almost as old a married couple as Springbok Radio.
Yeah, we started very young, of course, I hasten to say.
What is your very latest show about?
Well, the show that's going to happen tonight
is a real-life dramatic experience. It actually happened in these very studios only a few hours ago.
You're tuned to the national network of Springbok Radio. At the next stroke of the gong, the time will be 25 years too late to stop it now. Oh, well, what happened to the gong? It was here someplace. I've got to hit the gong. I've got to hit the gong. I've hit the bottle. The announcer's water bottle, of course. I've broken the gong. I've hit the water jug. The last announcer who did that was hung by the neck, and I can't afford to be suspended again. Can only mean trouble. Hello, Dennis Smith speaking.
Oh, it's you, Smith. I might have guessed. What happened?
Sir, you're not going to believe this.
Then don't waste my time. What's the hold-up?
Yeah, hold-up, that's it. Yes, there was a hold-up, yes. Some masked bandits got into the studio when I wasn't looking, and they stole the gong.
Stole the gong?
Yeah, somebody nicked my ding-dong.
Watch it, Smith. We warned you about this before.
No, but it's true, sir. It's a flagrant felony, a criminal conspiracy, a sinister plot.
Don't be ridiculous, Smith. Nothing could be as bad as that.
Huh? How about the price of television sets?
Now listen to me, Smith. If someone has stolen the gong, it's a very serious matter. The Springbok gong has been there for 25 years. It's a priceless heirloom, valued at more than 2,000 copper ashtrays.
Yes, I know, sir. It's almost as old as Cracky McKay's jokes.
Yes, well, then you better find it, Smith. What are you going to do?
Do? There's only one thing a Springbok announcer can do in a situation like this. Send for squad cars.
They prowl the empty streets at night, waiting, on foot, waiting for someone to give them a lift because they've run out of petrol. These men are on duty 24 hours out of every 24, which is why they can hardly keep their eyes open. These are the men who can solve our Silver Jubilee disaster, the great gong robbery.
Yes, Springbok Radio resents the great gong robbery. 25 years of hearts and flowers, thud and blunder, and soul-searing star-studded commercials. The cast has been plastered, the script has been scrapped, and the musicians are instrumentally deficient. Only the names have been changed to protect the starving actors, writers, and producers who are going for a gong.
Johannesburg, April the 30th, 8:67 p.m. Springbok announcer Dennis Smith is interviewed by South African Police Sergeant Koos van der Merwe.
I say, Mr. Smith. I wonder if you could tell us just exactly what happened.
You're Sergeant Koos van der Merwe?
Well, yes, of course, old chap. Haven't you ever noticed on squaddies lately all the crooks have Cockney accents and the police all sound like the Duke of Bedford?
Yes, now that you mention it, yes. How do you explain that?
Well, I don't know. I think somebody must have complained.
Yes, well, about this robbery, Sergeant, I think it was an inside job.
Oh, come now, sir. Surely you don't believe a professional radio broadcaster would steal?
Oh, please, anything that wasn't screwed down.
Well then, sir, why wasn't it screwed down?
Well, it's a matter of direction, Sergeant.
Direction, sir?
Yes, tonight everything seems to have got screwed up.